All right, so this video of a man hanging off the side of an Audi SUV at Fort Mason in San Francisco is going viral tonight. And actually, we tracked him down to find out what happened.
Это ваше.
So here's what happened. He was in a group of tourists traveling from overseas. They were in San Francisco for one day to sightsee last Wednesday when two thieves broke into their vans at Fort Mason. They smashed the windows and snatched bags with passports and laptops inside and threw them into a getaway car, a black Audi. When two of the tourists confronted them to try and get their bags back, one of them ended up holding onto the side of their car as the thieves sped off.
I was just like hanging there until I realized like he's just gonna keep accelerating. If I'm not gonna just jump now, it's gonna be like something really bad.
I'm still shocked about this. Like, couldn't believe that it's like it can happen during the daytime in a tourist place and like the most attractive place, right?
So this video is a little bit different than most of the other defensive gun use videos, largely because there was no defensive gun use. Instead, what you're seeing is what happens when you don't really have the right to exercise your 2A rights in a particular city. And it's also a demonstration of why you should not depend on the government to keep you safe, especially a government who is dead set on creating an environment that makes it as easy as possible to be a criminal and never actually be held accountable for it. So you see, there's this thing going on in San Francisco and in generalized the Bay Area where criminality has gone honestly through the roof. And what they're doing is a thing called bipping. And bipping essentially is you have groups of people who will literally drive around tourist areas and look for cars that look like rentals or just look inside cars and see what valuables are in the car. And then they'll break the glass, grab, and go. The thing about this that makes it incredibly unique is that they don't just do it to one car and then drive off. Generally speaking, they'll do it to a row of cars down the street in broad daylight. And it's not just bipping. They're also just robbing people in broad daylight, as you see in this video. And the only reason that this is being able to be done to the degree and the absolute no disregard for anyone else whatsoever is because they know don't nobody have a gun there. No one is armed there. It's San Francisco. Yes, technically they have the right to exercise their 2A rights, and some people do. But generally speaking, there's a culture there that doesn't really embrace the Second Amendment. So the vast majority of people there don't carry. And then in this case, you have tourists who probably come from a country where they're not allowed to have a gun in the first place. So now you have tourists coming from a country that doesn't allow them to have guns to a city that doesn't, generally speaking, like to have their people having guns. So now you've created an environment where the criminals can just do whatever they want. This is happening in broad daylight, and everybody's just standing around and watching it happen. You got to think about what makes a criminal so emboldened that they would do that. And what that is no consequences. They know nobody's going to show up and do anything. The cops have their hands tied behind their back in San Francisco because even if they were to stop these guys will be back on the street within the same day, or bare minimum, they probably would only write them a ticket. Because those are the policies that have been implemented by the politicians who run California. And they vote for this. This is what you people vote for. So don't start acting weird and confused about why is all the crime happening in San Francisco and California? You created it by the way that you voted. Instead of actually doing things that are practical, like embracing the Second Amendment, actually holding criminals accountable for their behavior. No, you want to virtue signal and say, no, not everybody needs to go to jail. We're going to make it so that it's easier for people not to go to jail. We're going to give everybody a bond. You can murder someone, but that's okay. You can come back on the street and just promise to come back and then we'll try your case. And then even then we'll look at you and say, you know what? We're nice, super liberal leftist people who are super ultra compassionate and pacifists, and therefore we're just going to let you back out on the street and hopefully you won't do it again. Bad boy, bad boy. Criminals don't give a shit about your virtue. All they care about is looking for marks and victims. And I can't think of a place right now that has more victims than California. And the reason is because, as I stated before, not that many people really just have guns like that on their person at the time in California, because California, by and large, prior to the Bruen decision, didn't allow people to really carry firearms like that. So now that the Bruen decision has passed, now they're trying to find every way possible to make it as hard as possible for people to carry firearms. So though technically you can carry a firearm on your body in California, there's so many places you can't carry, you might as well not carry. And you see what happens. You think these criminals give a damn about the carry laws in California? That's not going to stop them from having a firearm. That's not going to stop them from brazenly robbing people in the middle of broad daylight and dragging them down the street. This is what we're talking about here. And now all of these like people from outside of the country who come in and say, oh, America's just crazy because you have all these guns and this is that. California, known as the strictest when it comes to gun control laws in the country. And look what's happening. You're being drugged down the street. Your life, your protection, your safety is in your own hands. The only thing you should be asking the government to do is stay the hell away from my rights, because I need those rights to protect myself, because you government won't be there when they need you the most.
You know how frightening it is to think about what happens in the moments before, during, and even days after having to use your gun in self-defense? When you first start carrying a gun for protection, it can be a very scary and nerve-wracking experience, especially if you haven't gotten the education and training you need to feel confident. I've been there myself, hoping I never have to go through a self-defense shooting, which is why I'm a member of the USCCA. As a USCCA member, you can eliminate some of the stress of carrying a gun for protection by accessing the amazing wealth of firearm education, training, and current state-specific gun laws of your state or states you may travel to. This can help you be prepared for, or hopefully even avoid, a self-defense incident. As a bonus, members automatically become insured on the self-defense liability insurance policy purchased by and issued to the USCCA. Click below to learn more. I'm sure the YouTube algorithm is going to do a phenomenal job of suppressing this message. So please share this video with as many people as you can so we can beat the algorithm and get our two-way message out to the masses. Also, don't forget to like this video and leave a comment, and hit the bell and subscribe button.